Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be on this webinar with Ahmed and all you people that have joined. Extremely excited, and I think that's probably the excitement and the joy of working together is something that we should all try and aim for. Yeah, my background is uh, qualified as an engineer, then went into financial accounting and reporting and auditing. Ended up in working in production and running a number of companies. I had the honor of working at Toyota, where I was leading the world-class leadership development program with for team leaders, group leaders, and section managers, and to a lesser extent the directors of the company. And after my time there, I went off and set up my own organization and started to do basically what I saw and heard at Toyota in lots of different companies. And over sort of plodding through the 140 odd organizations that I've worked in, in a cross section of industries, mainly production, logistics, some hospitals, some service industries, a very wide cross section of operations. I was always trying to understand what works best for the people that I actually engage with. And really, I started to write the book in my head when I was first introduced into Toyota, because I saw something, I felt something which I'd never seen before and I've never seen since. And what I think the conclusion I came to is that what I saw was the behaviors that tuned the machines that run the factory. It was the behaviors of the people. It wasn't so much the tools and the processes. So the 16 Habits was a book that came to life. I tried to reduce it from 16 habits to, I don't know, 12, 14, 10, 9, 8, but it just wasn't possible every time the 16 habits came coming back. But one of the things I wanted to impress on you just right at the beginning here is that this is not a soft, cuddly approach. If you read the book, you do the course online or face to face at your at your premises. This is not a soft, cuddly approach. This is really root driven by processes, PDCA approach, scientific approach, neuroscience, and some spiritual guidance for those who are open to that that angle. So yeah, it's really about achieving the business goals, but looking at it from a behavioral perspective. Yeah, and of course, there's one of the habits which I have within the book, Genba, Ikigai, Leading to Serve, which is called Mendomi, and there is a third book coming out in September, all about Mendomi. So it's going to be called Genba, Ikigai, Mendomi. So yeah, I think that's a quick introduction about myself. So shall I move on? Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. So a little bit about myself. My name is Ahmed Adwan. I'm the founder of Kaizen Academy, and I'm honored to be a co-founder of Kaizen Made Easy on LinkedIn. I've been in the Kaizen world for more than 20 years. And in Kaizen Academy, we provide high quality continuous improvement courses and programs. And we are collaborating with, we're honored to be collaborating with Mark in developing and offering the Genba Ikigai program. It's one of a kind program.
Okay.
So over to you, Mark.
Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, just a quick introduction. So before we go into the 16 habits, what we'd like to do with you is to focus on three concepts. The 4 stages concept, the 2 wheels concept, and the inverted pyramid. And I think that is absolutely the right place to start before we go into some of the elements of the 16 habits. Obviously, we won't be going through each habit because we just haven't simply got the time for that. But that's obviously well written up in the book, and it's incredibly well described in the course program. So yeah, so here I just dive through into the first concept. So the foundational model. Now, yes, I think you have a question for me, Ahmed, here regarding this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I would like you to describe for us why do we need to understand something about the four stages of an organization before we even do anything, or before we start a proposal for a client or engage in an initial lean initiative? Like why these four stages are important?
Okay, fine. So thank you for the question. So when I go into an organization, I don't conduct a formal due diligence or audit. I've done a couple of them, but I really find that it's not something that I need to do. What I do though is I create what's like an unofficial audit. What I do is I listen to the people at all levels of the organization. I see and try to understand what is their strategy and where are they and what are they struggling with. I go to the shop floor. I go to the place where the people work, to the Genba, and I try to understand who's communicating with them. What are their frustrations? What are their bottlenecks in terms of communication, in terms of process? I look at the KPIs, the business results, and I do a lot of looking and seeing and hearing, and based and on that, that looking at those things, I go through, I analyze the organization from four stages. And this is something I learned whilst from my Genba Sensei coach from Toyota, one of the senior executives. And this is one of the things they do is they look at suppliers particularly, and this is something I was also involved in. You look at suppliers from four stages. So you've got the reactive, we have something called the reactive stage, which is basically these four stages have about 50 or 60 questions. If you want to do it, sort of scientifically, there is about 50, 60 questions that you check off. One of the things you could actually ask the organization to do the same to see if to get some sort of 360 clarity feedback from this. The first stage, reactive, is basically, is this organization surviving day to day? It's probably unstable in many areas and they're really not achieving the results. The next one is stable. A stable organization is the stage two, and this is an organization that basically has some control of some of the basic levers of the organization. There's no real momentum, and they have to invest a tremendous amount of effort to achieve some sort of results. So they're achieving them, but at great cost. The proactive stage, the third stage, is where they actually anticipate problems before they actually happen, and they actually achieve the goals with some effort, but not too much effort. They're actually achieving the goals. Now, this is the surprising thing. This is the surprising thing. A lot of the TPS, the Toyota Production System, which many people call Lean, but I'll try and call it Lean TPS from now on for this webinar, actually kicks in at the third stage, reactive and stable, which is where 85 to 90% of companies that I have seen are at the reactive and stable stages, saying we do lean. They do not do lean. What they do is they do housekeeping. They're trying to clean things up. So the third stage is the TPS stage. That's when the tools start kicking in. Now, about 1% of organizations actually achieve, even in the automotive industry, which I know very well, achieve the progressive stage. And we can say that they get a gold star for each of the 10, 15 questions that are in this sort of audit or due diligence. The progressive stages, they achieve the results, they continuously improve, they are continuously improving the results, they have a very healthy organizational culture, and they are planning well ahead. That's very important. So that's I think all I wanted to say about the four stages. It's very well written up and described in the book, and also in the online course program. So I'll go on to the next one. We'll have some questions in a minute. So I'll go on to the next one, the two wheels. Now, the two wheels, this is an incredibly powerful concept. It only came to light about 4 or 5 years ago, I think just after COVID. And And this is something I learned directly from one of the senior executives at Toyota. And he told me this. He said, when I was shown this in Japan, I understood it as an engineer within about 5 minutes. Yeah, the two wheels fixed by an axle. You've got the business progress wheels. So there you have the KPIs, and you have people development. That's problem solving. That's engagement. That's self-reliance. That's the competency matrix and all the rest of it. He said, I understood the principle. But then he said something else. He said, it took me 20 years as an engineer, with my process-driven brain, it took me 20 years to actually understand that it's how this actually works. So when you see the TPS house, when you see people talking about TPS, one of the things that's always been missing is what's behind it are the two wheels. And a lot of organizations say, when we get the business results, we'll start developing the people. And that is absolutely wrong. One of the things that Toyota Apps does all the time, and this is the message that really to get across with the two wheels, is that if you get, and this applies to anything in life, you know, the only way you can learn to ride a bicycle is to get on it and fall off. And we've all done that. Yeah, it's the only way you can do it. Is you can go on courses and do online courses for you, send your kids on an online course how to ride a bike. What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to fall off the bike. And it's the same with Toyota. They develop people in a framework which allows them to develop, solve problems, and make mistakes. And from that is how you develop the business. And the two wheels, the direction in which the two wheels are going is the strategy. So are we going in the right direction regarding the strategy? And the speed of the two wheels will be the same. Yes, if you have one wheel spinning too fast, if you've got too much training, so this two-wheel concept isn't going to go straight. So we need to go straight, and we need to go at the right speed, not too fast, not too slow. So we achieve the business results through developing the people on problem solving, and that's why section 3 talks about problem solving. And I think that's about all we have time for regarding that one. So if you don't mind, Ahmed, I'll go on to the next slide. Yeah. And finally, this is the challenge that we all have. Every single person that has ever walked this earth has a problem with this, because this inverted pyramid is saying, look, the higher you are in the organization, the more you are responsible for the success of the people. Now, one of the things I learned many years ago when I was doing my MBA was that leadership agrees and sets the direction of the organization, right? So we've got the strategy and so on. Next, they need to provide the resources so that you can actually achieve that strategy. But the third thing they need to do is they need to support and coach the people. And that requires a great deal of humility to develop and coach the people. And that's one of the things that we don't have. We have this situation where we have the traditional pyramid that the higher we are up in the organization, the more we have authority, the more we have experience, the more we are distant from the people that are actually on the ground floor at the Genba creating the results. So all I want to say on this one is that it's about serving, not commanding. So the higher you climb, the more your job is to serve, not command. And that takes real humility. And the book starts off with humility as one of the habits. Okay, so I think that's about it for now. And I don't know if we have some questions. I leave it over to you now, Ahmed.
Yeah, we have 2 questions in the chat. The first is, and for others, feel free to leave your questions as we go along. So the first question from Sima Muslim is asking, what is TPS stage like? What do you refer to as a TPS stage in the 4 stages model?
So it's the third. So TPS starts at the 3rd stage. So you have you have a number of principles, you have a number of tools, you have a number of concepts, which, from PDCA, Kaizen, visual management, taking out non-value added activities. That starts at the third stage. That's when TPS actually kicks in.
I see.
So that's all I can say at this moment, because I understand there's so little time. It's very well written up in the book. So and the course, so please go there. But that's when TPS, everything before is just housekeeping. It's just housekeeping. It's just putting things in order.
Thank you, Mark. We can move on, and we'll have some time for other questions as well.
Okay.
So the book, as I read it, is divided into 4 sections, and each section covers 4 habits. Given the limited of time that we've got tonight, I want to flag for people with us today, the 80 plus persons attending live now. I want to flag that the course that we're going to provide at the end of this webinar goes into real depth, every single one of these habits into great details. But for now, let's hear your brief overview of the 4 sections, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmed. So keep the 3 concepts in mind as we go through the 4 stages. So the 3 concepts were the 4 stages of developing an organization or a team. I forgot to mention a team. So organization or team, you can develop it, or a business unit or a group of companies. The second one is the 2-wheel concept. That's incredibly powerful because it really tells you what Toyota system is all about and how they think and work in a simple diagram. And the inverted pyramid, which is saying, look, if you want to start with anything, you've got to realize that the higher you are in the organization, the more you have to be out there helping the people, serving the people. So those things are really key. So I'm going to dive straight into the first section.
Yeah, sure.
So the first section, sorry?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the first section that we have in the program in the book is we have 4 habits. We've got Hansei, self-reflection, humility and gratitude, respect and mutual trust, and integrity. Now, look at it this way. When you become a team leader, a group leader, a Hansei, a manager, a director, a CEO, a chief operating officer, whatever, employees look to you for a good example. You are the guiding light, right? You define the organizational culture, not HR or anyone else. You define the organizational culture, the way you answer questions, the way you ask questions, the way you deal with problems. People are looking to you, and it is human nature to be able to follow the example of the leader, whether the leader has good habits or not. It's to follow the leader. You define the culture, and this is really key. So one of the things I'd like you to ask yourself is, am I a good example to others? Would you follow yourself? Right? Would you follow yourself if you had someone with your characteristics, habits and behaviors as a boss? Yeah, would you want to lead? Would you want to follow someone that has an identity similar to yours? So leading self is where it all starts. Okay, we want to change the world, we want to change the company, we want to change other people. Let's start with the biggest challenge. The biggest problem at any organization is, let's start with leading self, where everything begins. So Hansei is about honest self-reflection. Yeah. Without honest self-reflection, we really can't go any further. You can't really Kaizen and improve anything if you don't have some Hansei, right? So why not start with Kaizen yourself in the first place? Yeah. So Hansei is perhaps the most underestimated habit, and it doesn't matter which country you live in. It doesn't matter what is your religion, what is your history. Starting with yourself is the biggest challenge, because we all see problems in other people in other organizations. But one of the things they kept drilling into us at Toyota is quite simply this: if anything ever goes wrong, whether it's a process or a behavior, the first thing you need to do is to ask yourself the question, what did I do, or I didn't do, or I said, or I didn't say, or I could say, or I should have said, or I will say, or I will do in the future, so as to omit this kind of thing that has happened, which I have been directly or indirectly responsible for. So Hansei, I think everyone that has read the book so far and done the course has said that has been the biggest impact on them has been the Hansei, because that really takes you down into who you really are, okay, and ask some serious questions. So Kaizen yourself first, and then everything else moves on from there. I think that's the only one I want to concentrate on now, because respect, mutual trust, integrity, and so on are separate from Hansei, but they're an integral part. They're separate in terms of things that we need to focus on, but without the humility, it's no, I've heard people say, well, I respect him, and that I would say, no, you didn't respect him. Actually, you were very rude. And you say, well, there's no humility there. There's no self-reflection. Yeah. So Hansei is very important. So I think that's about all I wanted to say on that one. So that's the first section. So once we've started to work on ourselves, and obviously this is a journey, a never-ending journey, the next thing is to start. Over to you, Ahmed. I think you'd like me to talk about leading the tribe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In
So
the organization and culture change. Yeah.
So before we put the world to right, before we fix the company, before we fix all the people that need fixing, so we continue every single day to work on ourselves. And we all know that we have this tendency to wobble off to the left. We have this limp, so we have to keep going, coming back and trying to improve ourselves. So the 4 habits here is leading the tribe. Now, I don't talk about a team. I talk about a tribe. Deliberately, because this implies something deeper than a reporting structure. It's a tribe, and we have 4 habits here. So managing through visualization, and I think a lot of people have probably read about visualization. Now, one of the things I do when I walk into a marketing office, an HR office, a COO office, a production facility, a logistics plant, I want to see the visualization that the people are actually filling in. And it's something that, again, I learned at Toyota. It's called the 180-second rule. And if I do not know what is going on within 180 seconds, then I know that the organization also doesn't know what's happening there. The computer may know, and the system may know, but not the people that actually run the business, right? So 180. So a lot of information on Genba, the habit of visualizing, right? So it's a habit we need to develop. The second one is an incredibly powerful habit called Mendomi, or sometimes written without the U, I think. My third book, which comes out in September, will be just about Mendomi. And this is about caring, genuinely caring for your tribe, caring for your people, not managing from a distance. And there are 2 elements to this. One is that you see that somebody needs some help, and the other thing is that you actually do something about it. And I must tell you this, Mendomi is so powerful that when I left Toyota, I was finishing work for Toyota, I was asked not to mention Mendomi. And everyone else that were left, this is going back a few years now, they said, don't talk about Mendomi, because it's one of our biggest secrets that nobody writes anything about. And for years, when I was Googling or trying to find a book about it, there was nothing available. So again, this is something that is a habit that if you don't practice it, it's just you're not gonna deliver the results. Another one is celebrating. Learn to celebrate. We all complain, we all expect, we all want to push results, but you know something? I'll tell you this as a fact. At Toyota, we celebrated every day. Okay, we weren't having rave parties, whatever you want to call them, but we celebrate it every day, because it's a gift and a joy to work, and that is fundamentally one of the concepts which is so important. Work is a gift, and it should be a joy, and we should celebrate even when things go wrong. You can always pat somebody on the back or say, look, you really did try, it didn't work, but don't worry, we'll work on this together. You see, and there are different ways of celebrating. Obviously, it could be a pizza, a coffee, a cake, a night, an evening out with the team. But celebrating is there are so many things that we should celebrate, and I really encourage you to celebrate because life is too short, and celebration is very important. Building and developing your tribe is, I go into some technical stuff called monozaruki, which is the craft of making things. Then there's something called hitozaruki, which is developing others, and there's kotozaruki, making things. But fundamentally, it goes back to the 3 KPIs that I had when I joined. I had 3 KPIs from my boss, and he said, you have 4,600 people to look after, and you've got 3 KPIs: build engagement, build self-reliance, and build problem solving. Those are the 3 things I had to focus on, and I was measured on them every 6 months, and I had to deliver. Obviously, the team had to deliver, obviously, with me. So the core line is, we should look at our position in terms of leading the tribe, in terms of as serving them unconditionally. All right, I think that is the key message here. Okay, that's about it on that one. Right, what do we have?
Yeah.
A few minutes? Not.
So, Mark, there's a couple of questions. I'll pick one of them now. So, question from Julia, which asks, many lean and transformation approaches assume that resistance comes from fear, uncertainty, or lack of understanding. But what's your advice when the resistance is deliberate and driven by personal interests? So how do successful lean leaders respond when individuals actively work against transparency or employee involvement and change driven by politics, for example?
Yeah. Julia, yeah? Was that Julia? Thank you very much for the question. Fantastic question. With difficulty, if you have a strategy which says we want to be a bigger organization, make more profit, whatever, and you have internal politics, you have a toxic environment, you are not going to arrive with your sailing boat, with your crew, at the port destination that you have decided on, if you have a political toxic environment. And now the question you have to ask yourself is this: everyone's job gets them down sometimes for various reasons. One of them is politics, toxic environment. We don't have the right self-development. But one thing is, you've got to remember this: everyone's job gets them down sometimes. But if your job gets you down all the time, get out, leave. It's not for you. Now, going back more to the question of what do you do? I come across this situation sometimes, and out of 146 companies, I left 3 organizations because they were toxic. It doesn't matter what you said to people. It doesn't matter what credentials you had. They knew better, and they wanted to play their game. Their sandpit, and I just said, it's your sandpit. You want to play in it, they walk out. Now, one more thing, because this is such a good question. Thank you for this question. I think a lot of people have a problem with this. Remember that in every organization, you have what are called busy bees. These are people that really work really hard. They collect the nectar, the honey. All right, they make the honey. Then you have the ants, and this is the army of workers that are just there. They work hard. They keep their head down, and that's all they do. Then you have what I call the goats. You've got to kick them sometimes, because if you don't kick them every time, they sort of slow down, like the sort of rabbit or the goat that has this, that's run on batteries. If the battery goes down too late, you've got to recharge the batteries. They need a bit of a kick. But then also in the organization, you also have another 2 types of people. You have people that are snakes. And these are all people snakes. These are people that slither around. They will smile, but when your back is turned, they will hiss and they will talk behind your back. And the 4th and the 5th, and these are the most dangerous, and I've come across quite a few of these, you have some people that have what are called vampire characteristics. They take out all the energy out of the room. They are not there for good purposes. They will destroy the organization. They need to be identified and they need to be removed. In my book, I talk about all these 5 areas, And I have had to go to the supervisory board, I've had to go to the investors, I've had to go to the CEO, and I've had to say, unless you remove this person, this company will not progress. And there are some astounding case studies that I give on that subject. Thank you very much for that question. I think we should move on. Yeah?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to keep this one short. So, yeah. Okay, so leading through problem solving is the third section. And what you will learn here is things that no one has ever written about, or maybe very few people. You will learn about facts and what we mean by facts. You will learn about foxes, and you will learn about fish and Pareto and the D4 method and the A3 method. And you will learn about the Macbeth, you know, from Shakespeare, the Macbeth principle. You will learn about monkeys and dead horses and Genba and Gensi Gunbutsu, which has never been written up in the way I have had it described to me by senior executives from Toyota. And this all goes to developing people through problem solving, going back to the two wheels which we talked about. So it's the longest section. There's a lot of practical examples in there. There are case studies in there. There's some background noise. I hope it's not disturbing anybody. It's not from me. And so this is a very big section, but what it does, it brings in section 1 and 2. So that's all I want to, and it certainly demonstrates how the two wheels work. Okay, shall I move on?
Yeah, please.
Okay, the next one is the final section, leading organizational culture. Now look at it this way. If we're working on ourselves, we're constantly doing our handshake, we're working on to improve the way we think and behave, then we branch out and we work to develop the tribe that we have. And then if you add on to that our ability to engage and develop others in problem solving, which I briefly went into just a minute ago, we are now ready to expand and take on the world. So this is the organizational culture. So this is the 4 habits here is really talking about how you, as this person who is constantly working on yourself as a good example to others, you're building the individuals in the organization through the tribe methodology, and you are helping them to turn the two wheels by developing them through problem solving and supporting them. Now there are 4 more habits which are we need to practice in order to influence even a larger group of people. And the one I want to focus on just now, because I know we don't have much time, is Andon. Now, please take this on board. There is so much written and so many posts and so many lectures and presentations on Andon. I was sitting with the ex-CEO of Toyota plants one evening over a dinner, and he said to me, "Mark, do you know what Andon is?" And of course, I tried to make a good impression. And I said, "Yeah, it's the Andon cord that people pull in order, if there's a problem online, you know, they pull the cord, the line is the line signal, there is a problem. If there's a bigger issue, you pull the line a little bit harder and line stops, and then the problem is solved." And he said, "Yeah, that's actually the mechanical side of it." He said this: Andon is a cultural state of mind. Forget the cord, the button, the light. That is important. Andon is a cultural state of mind. Anyone in the organization, from the CEO right down to the people on the shop floor, the people cleaning, the people making the meals in the factories, anyone can call the Andon because they feel psychologically safe to say, "Look, I haven't." This is almost a definition of Andon. Andon, when Andon is pulled, it's a signal to say, "Look, please come and help me because there is something happening in my process, according to my standard work, that if it's not fixed, or looked at as soon as possible, it will impact the quality and as a result have an influence on the cycle time. That is what Andon is. And the response from the direct line supervisor is to come over with a smile and some flowers and an apple and say, hello, thank you for calling the Andon. How can I help you? Okay, we can miss the flowers and the apple, but what I'm trying to say, it has to be seen as a positive thing. So Andon is a cultural state of mind. Okay, the rest of it, engaging others and Yokoten, well, I welcome you to the course and the book, and it's pretty well written up there. So I think we need to move on to the next slide. Is that right? Or am I? Do we have some questions now, or do we move on to the next slide, Ahmed? How do you see it? Hello?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yeah,
Can you hear?
I've completed the fourth
Yeah,
section briefly. I just
yeah.
talked about Andon more than
I was,
anything else.
yeah, I was saying we'll pick one of the questions, and sorry, I was on mute. There's one question came across, which is sometimes that companies would try to kind of force lean or push it, which sometimes to the departments without much of reflections, which sometimes people will start to think that um, it's not good for them. It creates friction between departments. They don't understand the reason behind it, and then people has fear to mention any kind of feedback. So the leadership could believe that's the right thing to do, but they are not giving themselves an opportunity to do reflection and listen to the teams. So as a department leader in such an organization, what should I do?
Okay, what are we trying to force? Didn't hear at the beginning. What are we trying to force? The strategy, the habits,
The
the
lean tools and methods.
Okay. Yeah, first, well, it's a little bit like Hoshin Kanri and Catchball and Nemawashi. So sorry, I have to mention this. Before you start anything, if you tell somebody we're going to do lean, what are people going to go and say? They're going to go, okay, I'm employed by the organization. Okay, let's do lean and see what happens. If you've got 1,000 people in the organization in that situation, you're going to have 2,000 opinions about whether this is a good thing or not. Now, if you want to get people on board, you need to practice something which Deming talks about, which I talk about as one of the habits. You need to prepare the soil. You need to talk about Nemawashi. You need to prepare people. You need to talk to them. And that's where Nemawashi and the catchball, in other words, to and fro information from horizontally and vertically to agree on what should be done when. Top management do not have the answers. They may have some ideas, but if you want buy-in and engagement, you have to talk to people lower down. You know this in your private life. If you agree something, the whole family is going to be against you because you agreed something, because everyone had a different view about what should happen. But if you discuss with them with the idea about what you would like to achieve and what are the benefits, features, and advantages, and how they can participate this and have some utilization from it, you're going to get a much better response. It's all about communication. It's all about respecting the people, respecting the other human being. None of us like to be told what to do, but if we agree, this is one of the things, one of the things that we do is that we teach how to give and receive feedback and how to delegate. Toyota has 5 stages of delegation. Very few people know about this. The first stage is called agree the task with your member. Agree the task. Don't give the task, agree it. Can you see the difference? One word, agree. Yeah. So I think that's just a quick reply on that one. Yeah. So you need to agree tasks. Yes, management often get it wrong. They say, yeah, we're going to do lean, and everyone has to do lean, and that's it. So when I'm in that kind of situation and I go into an organization, one of the things I do during the audit in my head is I start to talk to people at all different levels within the organization to try and understand what has been told by them and what are they thinking. Half the people will be thinking, we don't need lean. Another group of people will be thinking, this guy's been brought in to, if we do lean, we're going to be mean, we're going to lose our jobs. And you've got all this rubbish, you've got this mudder, right? So what we need to do is to start to think about where is the waste, the non-value added in our behaviors before looking at processes. And I will say that quite openly, is if you focus on the behavioral side, most of the processes will actually sort themselves out, because most people, and I heard this from my CEO executives, most people come to an organization to do a good piece of work and to go home satisfied, right? And what does management and leadership do, consciously or unconsciously, is they work in a way so that people are unhappy about the work they do and are unhappy when they leave their work. So there's a lot to be said for working with all levels of management. That's why I wrote this book about the habits, because I realized that if you take these on board, you are guaranteed results. And it always happened. And that's why I read it, because I needed to clear my own mind to say, why are we getting results from country to country, it doesn't matter what industry we're in, we're getting the results. And it wasn't me, it was just something I had this gift that I picked up from and then what I picked up from Toyota, and it worked, and it works. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because this really works. It's all about people. Toyota say, first we develop people and then we build cars. Here it is. This is it. It's in the program. It's in the book. Okay. I do like to talk.
No, that's very insightful, Mark, and I think we all like the energy that comes out of you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, again, I write this in the book. I mean, I've seen so many managers and CEOs come to a meeting and go, right, okay, today we're going to be talking about, and I say, at the end of the meeting, I say, listen, if you're going to run a meeting like this, I'm going to fall asleep, right? Unless you're going to give me something, a joint to smoke or something, so that I can feel happy and, look at you in a nice, positive way. Listen, one thing is we all talk about these pre-shift meetings, the 6 o'clock meeting, the 2 o'clock in the afternoon meeting and everything. And everyone focuses on the KPIs, the goals. And you know what? Toyota says something else. They say, the way you run that meeting with your energy or lack of energy, the way you greet the people with your eyes, the way you use all these muscles that you've been given, and the way you conduct yourself is going to define how the next 8 hours works. Yeah, the numbers on the screen and on the whiteboard will deliver themselves. So again, this is another thing that we come out with from this program and course and the stuff I've done and the stuff I learned at Toyota, is the way you run the meeting with your energy and empathy and engagement is going to fire people up. Maybe not everybody, but it's going to fire. If you're going to go in with a dull, miserable face and complaining, hey, you expect people to deliver results? No way. Yeah. Thanks for that comment, Ahmed. Thank you.
Yeah. We can move on to the next slide, Mark. So that's so far what we covered out of the 4-model framework. So we have 4 sections, 16 habits. We have more depth in each than an hour allows, but if tonight resonated, here is how you can go further.
Yes.
So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of good books out there on TPS and Lean, and I'm not knocking anybody and the material. But there are more books arriving now on bookshelves which talk about the behavioral side. And all we have done with this program, which is incredibly well written, I could have never done it without Ahmed. It's incredibly developed. I mean, every single person that has gone through the program has said that they have, you know, really senior people in corporations said, I have learned so much. And that was really touching. I never thought that they would say that. So the book and the program are reflections of themselves. And I think the way forward is to pick up the book, go on the course, and develop yourself. This is a new era for us, right? If we want to compete and be successful as individuals, as teams, as organizations, we need to be focused on the 4 stages in order to be successful and deliver business excellence. Everyone knows the tools. Everyone has AI. Everyone has the ERP systems and the electronic screens. It doesn't deliver. We still have a place for humanity at work. So that's what I would suggest. Yeah. And I thank everybody for giving up their time. I think I'll go to the next slide, if I may.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, there is something specific for tonight's attendees. So everyone with us today, Mark is offering something he doesn't usually offer, and I don't want anyone who stayed this long to miss it. So if you go to the next slide, Mark.
Sure.
So before we close this session out, and before we take more questions, I want to cover 2 things, or 2 offerings from Mark. One for individuals and one for organizations. Both open specifically to people who have joined us tonight. So if you are here as an individual and this resonates with you, here is what's available. So you have here a short form. You can scan it with your as a QR code, or you can click the link in the chat. And within 24 hours of tonight's session, and we'll send you an exclusive link that looks in tonight's price. So we have the course standard price for $999 plus VAT, but only for attendees of today. We're offering it for $469 for individuals, and you can enroll directly, or you can have 7 days to claim it from today. So there is no pressure to decide on the spot. And also, as a personal gesture from Mark, the first 3 people to actually complete their enrollment will each receive a copy of the book, personally signed and sent directly to your doorsteps. So if you enroll in the course, out of the first 3, you will be given a book signed by Mark, delivered to your doorsteps. And if you're here representing an organization and thinking about bringing your team through this offers skills with group size. So if you bring 5 or more people through the course, and Mark will run one free 90-minute coaching session with your team, and on any topic of you choose relevant to the program. And if you bring 20 or more participants, Mark will come on site for a day and a half at your factory, and for Genba coaching, completely free of charge, apart from the travel and accommodation expenses. And you would only need to cover for the, as we said, the travel expenses. If that's something worth exploring, also fill out the same form, but choose that you're acting on behalf of an organization, or you're looking forward to implementing this, or enrolling your team members or parts of your organizations throughout this program. So just fill out the same form. We'll set up a proper conversation, live session with your organization, one-to-one with Mark, about what you're trying to achieve. And one last thing, shortly after tonight's session wraps up, you will get an email with the recording and also with the slides, and all of the offer details again in writing, and also with a short feedback survey. We need to have you also complete that as well. So thank you all so much for being here tonight until this moment. And it has meant a lot of us for me myself and also for Mark, I believe. And I've learned a lot through this session, Mark. Thank you so much for sharing this, and thank you for such an energy. So we're allowing some more time, a few more minutes for your questions, either about what you've learned today or about the program and what it has to offer for you. So come up with your questions, and Mark will uh, will uh, will be happy to answer your questions. I'll pick one of the questions as of now, but just raise your hand or leave leave the leave the leave a comment with your questions.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, we have a few minutes. We said we'd go over time. We've got 5 minutes, but we can go over another. We can go over 5 minutes if anybody wants to. I mean, let's talk. I mean,
yeah,
Yokoten, sharing. Let's go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Good. So, as you say, Yokotin, a question that came from SSK asks, is Yokotin is horizontal deployment?
No, Yokoten means sharing best practices, and actually, so what it just means that okay, the principle of Yokoten is to share horizontally and vertically information which you possess, which can help to develop other people within the organization or within your life, so that they don't make the same mistakes, just as you would like to learn from other people. So it's horizontal and vertical sharing of information, of best practices. It's not the best definition from Japanese kanji, but that's pretty much the way most people understand it. And it just basically means what is your, if when we talk about the habits, so it's habit number 16, and it's also one of the things we're doing right now, is we are sharing. Uh, okay, we have also another goal, but we're sharing what we hope to be current best practices so that we can improve, you know, what you do in your work and in your life. Okay, I mean, one of the things that Toyota teaches everybody is that you have been given a lot of wisdom and discernment free from a lot of people, not just to do your job, and therefore share this when you leave the organization. And that's one of the great things. If you talk to anybody that's a Genba Sensei coach, whether they've worked for Toyota or not, they are willing to share that information because it's one of the things that you leave behind is to share what is best practice. I hope that the name was SGT or something.
Yeah,
I hope that answers your question.
yeah, yeah. Um, there is a comment, maybe more than a question from Tomika Zaru. I also like your energy, Mark, and I agree with your approach 100%. I'm going to get your book and learn from it. Thank you for being willing to share your knowledge and experience.
Thank you. That's really kind. It's nice to hear
Yeah,
some feedback. It's good to have feedback. People forget we're also human.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So another question that came from um, here, let me check the name. So I forgot the name, but yeah, from Seme Oslam. Um, I'm guessing from Turkey. So asking whether this book is only valuable for managers, or what would you recommend for people in other areas of life to approach your book so that they can benefit from it if they are not managers themselves.
I think everyone is a manager of themselves. Everyone is a leader in some way. I mean, the I mean, this book could be written, has been read actually, and been developed, has been um, delivered online as well as in person, to anywhere from team leader, group leader, handshake, right up to CEO, right? I mean, it's for anyone, right? It's for anyone. And also, what is very important, it's a fundamental building block for HR that want to build development programs, where you want to prepare people for the next stage of succession within the company. You know, somebody's like a supervisor and they're going to become a manager or something. So this book is like a fundamental building block. It's the cornerstone for developmental material. It's not the only one, but it's used for that as well. So I would recommend it to anybody that basically wants to improve their performance. Yeah, as an individual to start with. Yeah.
Yeah. We have also a comment from Farkanda Ashfaq. Thank you, Mark. A valuable learning experience today, and appreciate these coaching sessions.
Thank you.
I think a question from Arja. So what behavior should I apply when working in a trading organization who have strong focus on daily P&L and monthly close figures? Mainly focused working on yesterday or today's targets. How can you motivate colleagues to join working in a continuous improvement program beyond just attending a first meeting and after that's been the little in really implementing any of it with the argument of I have no time, there are other priorities.
What was the industry? What was there was something you said at the beginning, if I could ask.
Trading organization.
Trading. Okay. Excellent question. Thank you very much. Right. What happens if what it's in again? It's in the book. It's in the course. It's flogging a horse. If you never give a horse a rest, or a pat, or a carrot, or time to have a drink, what happens to the horse? It lies down and it dies, doesn't it? So human beings need time out. You need time to discuss. You need time to do something called 1-point lesson. Again, I go into this in the book and the course. One of the things about 1-point lesson is taking 5 minutes out and saying, or 10 minutes out with your team and saying, hey guys, how do you think this today went? What could have we improved? What things could have, where are our successes? And celebrate with individuals. You need to celebrate. Of course, if the book starts with a quote which says, work is for man, not if I got this right, work is for man, not man for work, right? If you feel that you're a slave to constant numbers and figures and P&L, and it's just every day you're like this little hamster, that children have in a cage, all the time turning the wheel until you are exhausted. You need time out to share knowledge, to appreciate people, to celebrate, not once a year, but like every day, or to give them support, encouragement. Life is not just about figures and numbers. That's a short existence to nowhere. At the end of the day, by the way, I'll tell you something. At Toyota, if you set the target, and they were ambitious targets, you had to deliver. But you know what was important? The goal is one thing, but maybe this will help you. I forgot the name of the person. And this applies to everything. This is one of the things about the book. It's the journey to the goal that we have set that is important, not just the goal itself, right? It's not about running people over, exhausting them, just so that you can achieve your results. The journey towards the goal is just as important as the goal itself, okay? So that's why the Mendomi, the Yokoten, the concept of Andon, the inverted pyramid, it's all about working together during the journey. Now, I love to quote my experiences on sailing sometimes I'm a crew member, sometimes I'm a captain of a small sailing yacht. You have a team of people. We have to sail from one place to another. During the way, we have to change the sails, the weather changes, other things happen, the currents change. If that journey is full of stress and it's just about reaching the target, and it's the same the next day, the next day, the next day, then nobody's going to enjoy the journey, and it's just about sailing from A to B to C to D. But if we enjoy the journey together, if we celebrate together, if we really look after each other in terms of physical safety, psychological safety, and nurture each other, and we say that work is a gift and it's a joy that we should try and find from it, then it's going to be far more than when you come off that boat and you go home, you still are a human being that can give the best of yourself to your family, right? So I don't know how extreme your situation is, but life is not just about figures and numbers and yesterday's figure. I know FMCG, fast moving consumer goods, is very much like that. And how many people survive that? Yeah. And in what condition? Yeah. Don't become a victim of the person you could be, right? Because somebody else decided that they wanted you to become something else, which you will naturally become if you're just full of figures and numbers. It's the journey that's important. It's just as important as the goal. The goal has to be reached. And it was the same at Tota. We have to enjoy the journey and go together. It's a journey. And so that's a quick, long answer to that question. Yeah. So we're over 4 o'clock. We said we'd run for a couple of more minutes. I see that some people are still hanging on. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer one or two more questions if people are not perhaps they're fallen asleep. Have you fallen asleep? They've all fallen asleep. Nobody's replying.
So yeah, if you wish, we can continue for, as you said, for 1 or 2 questions more. We had a couple, but
there's 2 people alive.
Yeah, we have about 42 people alive now with us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
39 have gone to sleep making a coffee.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I'm joking. Sorry, I'm always joking. Yeah, that's another thing. You got to joke. You got to make life fun.
Maybe
Thank
they had
you.
a heavy meal.
Smiley.
Had a heavy meal of education today. Yeah. So there is a question from Michael Berthus, if I pronounce it right. So what is the link between this approach with the 16 habits and 60 habits and the Harada method, also dedicated to personal development?
Yeah, the Harada method was quite popular actually about a couple of years ago. I skimmed through that method. To be honest, I don't know enough to be able to give you a qualified answer. If the Harada method is about the behavioral side of things, I remember very little about it now. And I think it partly is. I think there's a scaffolding approach to it. It has a system and a process, and it has a certain behavioral approach. Then there could be some similarities. What I would say is that the 16 habits that you have here, these are life skills. That's it. So it doesn't matter if you're a Six Sigma guru, black belt, or you're a Harada method, or you are, it doesn't matter. By the way, if you're a human being, these are habits that, that when you look at them and you study them, you say, this is what a human being should be anyway. It doesn't have to be called lean TPS. It doesn't have to be related to a business environment. I have put it into a business context. Yeah. Most of the habits are based from wisdom. So again, it doesn't matter on your culture, your religion, your experience. They're based on human virtues. Yeah. So yeah, let's have another question before we said we'd go for about 10-11 minutes. So we still have 1 or 2. If there are some people, of course, I don't want to
Yeah. Tony Roberts is saying still awake here and giving a smile emoji. And then so he's mentioning great stuff. Thank you for all of your insights and very thought-provoking. Um, um, Another question, let's end up with this. So where, in your opinion, is the boundary between lean as a philosophy of continuous improvement and lean as a tool for increasing employee productivity?
No, there's no line. There's no barrier. It's one and the same thing. Thank you for that question. That's a brilliant question. This is why I need time to explore. If I have understood the question correctly, many organizations, this is what they do. They say, today you're going to go on training in terms of effective communication or feedback or how to deal with inappropriate behavior. And then they say, here, you're going to go on a course to do problem solving or Kaizen or visual management or, one of the other 180 tools that we have in TPS. It's like Toyota never do that. It's like, no. Okay. What they do is they put the two together. They say, we're in a business. We have some goals. We have to take a journey together within certain values and principles. And we have to use those values and principles to achieve the goal. So here we're going to be talking about how you can better communicate with your team and get them to find meaning and purpose in their job. Right? You can't give people motivation. You can't give people meaning. They have to find it yourself. So these are the habits and the principles you use. But the reason why we use them is because if you nurture the individual, if you develop the individual through these soft behavioral skills, you will have better business results. So the KPI improves, the PDCA, the SMED, the changeover, we take out the waste and so on. People will take on board continuous improvement like fresh water from a fountain if you give them meaning and if you give them the environment where they can grow. And that's something we are really bad at doing. Okay. So the two, and what Toyota does, it does the two things together. It joins them together. I hope that answers your question, probably partly, maybe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing all of this. And so uh, to end up
Can I just say one thing, which
yeah, go
I want
ahead.
to say? So, I mean, for the people that are left, and thank you very much for hanging around. That's great. I wrote the book, and it took me about 7 to 8 years to actually, from putting, writing the first notes to actually getting it published. And I think I went through about 25, 30 versions before I actually said this can now be, published. And I put the effort into the book. There wasn't AI or anything like that involved in it. I just wrote it, So from my experiences, and it was a terribly long and painful process, but I needed to do it. Now, what Ahmed has done with Kaizen Academy is, and I didn't ask him to do this, he just did it. They have put together this amazing online platform program. And when Ahmed asked me if I would make a contribution, put some videos together, some comments and so on, which I did with great pleasure. And I went through the program. I was just so impressed by the amount of work that's gone into that program. It's so detailed. It goes through a case study. It goes through PDCA at the end of each habit. There is so much. I lose the words to describe it, but it goes into so much depth. I don't think I have, and I've done a few online programs. I've attended a few online courses. I have never come across anything that's so deep as this. And the people that have read the book and done the course, because there are people that have done the course that haven't read the book or have scanned the book or have read snippets of the book, have said that it made a profound impact on them. And these are people from all walks of life in different sizes of organization. So really, this is an amazing thing. That's really, I would just say, from my personal perspective, the book is the book. Okay, it has its I'm quite proud of it. But the online course is phenomenal. Just something I've never come across. It really goes into so much depth. I'm learning. I'm learning when I do the course. That's the truth. Yeah, I'm learning when I do the course. I think I'm learning more about the habits than I did when I actually wrote the book. So, thank you very much, Ahmed, for all the work you've done on that. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know if there are any more questions. I can see the people hanging around. I'm not sure what the culture is, whether we should just finish, but it's up to you. I'm still, I can,
Yeah, we have got many thank you messages for you, Mark. So people are really inspired with what you've shared so far with us. For anyone who is keen to understand more about the course contents and what it covers, I've shared with you here a link in the chat. And also you can scan the QR code for the special offer to access it. But basically the program covers all of the habits, each of the habits in details. It has introduction videos by Mark. We have case studies inside the course to guide you through close to real life examples. We will also have a companion app that you can do reflections, have a self-assessment in yourself in all of the habits. You also have playbooks and templates, and you finally get a certificate of completion signed and signed by Mark. And as Mark covered, we have people coming from different backgrounds taking this course, and also it is made to be suitable for the different levels of your organization. So it's not really for only for managers or not for frontline only. So it's for all. We're going to share after this meeting within 24 hours also this link to access the course offer, and also we'll give you more information about the book, more information about the course, and we'll also share with you the recording of this session as well, and you will be able to find it as well on Kaizen Academy YouTube channel within 1 or 2 days. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Mark, for spending that time with the participants, and looking forward to learn more and more from you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. It was great fun. And I know there are some really great people out there that I sort of read their comments sometimes, or I've read their books, and I really appreciate, I'm not saying I have the solution to all continuous improvement initiatives, but I just wanted to share with you something I learned and the program we put together, and we can all learn from each other. I don't have exclusive knowledge yet, but really appreciate everybody that's joined, and I hope you've also enjoyed the time that we've spent together, and look forward to any feedback. And if anybody does join the course, then there's the book offer, and of course there's the online, which comes free for the organizations if they want to join, and also there's the free visit as well, so I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's a no-brainer. So I really, please do take that opportunity. So thank you very much.
Good.
Great.
Thank you all.
Okay.
We'll see you all in the next webinar.
Yes, look forward to
Take
it. Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. As we say in English, have a good day.